bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
All right, this is the first episode. Bring 'em out. It's Joel Richardson, SoulJoel, Alan Hill.
Glad to be here, brother.
Yeah. So this is a podcast we're starting. It was Jesse's idea. Jesse Marchese, who's the producer, the official producer of the show. The title is going to be called Bring 'em Out. And obviously, if anybody's been to a show, I've been manifesting this for years. So I came out to this song. Like when I did my first produced show, it was all you can drink. My sister Deanna fell down the flight of stairs. My fraternity brothers go, oh, there goes Joel's sister. But that $20 open bar was the only way I got people to come out to come see. I go, they're not going to laugh at the comedy, but at least they'll enjoy some drinks.
And the promotional genius began.
No, exactly. So I used the song to come out, and then when we started SoulJoel's Inside and then the Dome, we always heard the music, and it was like almost like programming the audience.
Yeah, like it's showtime.
Yeah, it's showtime.
Yeah. And
people always like, oh, you're a club owner. You can't also be a comedian. But some comics love it because I'm going on being like, my stamp of approval. Anytime you see SoulJoel's, you know it's going to be a good show. This is the guys. And not everybody's going to love them. Right. But you know, hopefully it's such a different show that you're going to have, oh, I like that comic or I like that comic.
Totally.
And if not, come the next night.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be in all different comics. We don't have weekend shows. We have different comics every night.
Which is awesome. I love that you do that. I love that you do that instead of the normal, 5 shows in a weekend or whatever.
Yeah. Like, but then you're like, oh, I'll see him Wednesday or I'll see him Sunday. And then all of a sudden you're like, the weekend's over.
Boom. No, I love the one-nighter thing, man. Boom is that. You got to talk, if you don't mind, tell that story real quick about Cypher Sounds.
Oh, well, first of all, Cypher goes back even further, but Cypher made the intro to and he's the DJ for the Chappelle Show, and he was on Hot 97 when I first went to New York.
He discovered Rihanna.
Yeah.
And if I understand the story correctly.
Yeah, and so we have Bluey coming. Bluey, Bingo, and I know this doesn't make any sense. I'm jumping all over the place, but Olaf and Elsa from Frozen, they're coming tomorrow. It's like a Disney meet and greet with all the kids.
Right.
So all of a sudden, I finish recording a video in the ballroom, post it on social media. My phone rings. It's Cypher Sounds. He goes, so you got Bluey coming there, huh? And I'm like, hilarious. He just referenced that. And he goes, so first of all, he goes, you might want to put a lapel microphone on, and so that it doesn't echo. And he goes, and turn the camera sideways. Because he said if someone watches their phone and like shows their kids, hey, let's go check. He goes, there's too much angle.
Okay.
And he goes, or you could tell me to go. And he goes,
He's trying to co-produce your Disney show. I love it.
He goes, I don't know why. He goes, but he was like, I love you and I want you to do well. He's like, this is just some.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. The
relationships you have with some of these people is just amazing. What you build over the years, it's so cool.
Yeah, and he's got a dating show idea that he wants to do, like a game show. He goes, how did your speed dating go? He goes, I want, just like all the other comics, he goes, I want to try this idea. I want to try it in New York first, but I figured why not in a crap market first? But people don't realize that the comedians, that actually means he likes me.
Right.
Like we can't say you're doing a great job.
Right.
They have to roast you. If they roast you, they're like, they only roast the ones they love.
Yeah, right. Because real feelings are very difficult for comedians.
Yeah. And I go, oh. Thanks, Cypher.
That's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
But over the pandemic, we brought 55,000 people from 27 different states.
That's crazy.
Now you're from the same state, but the Bring 'em Out was you, your mom, your sister, all the people. Now it's a whole. What did you guys brought a shuttle van tonight?
Yeah.
You brought.
We had 5 people.
You brought everybody in Lancaster that's not Amish was here tonight.
They're still the Amish are still trying to come.
They texted me that you were here. They're like, Alan's here with 4 people. And his mom.
Well, the poor new guy that I don't know his name yet that was working the door.
You guys are close. Oh, I thought you meant that you brought. I go, you guys are close.
Yeah. I was trying to explain to him what I was
Ronan,
and he's a very nice dude.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know me, and I was like, I think it'd just be easier if I talked to Joel.
Yeah, let me.
Because it's very confusing. There's
where's
credits
Joel?
and there's things.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening here, so
Yeah.
let me just talk to Joel about it.
So he interned at the Dome the last summer, 2021.
Okay.
Just graduated college, and he applied for a full-time job.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
My
That's
sister's
great.
words. He came back for more.
That's cool. That's really
So
cool.
yeah, so full-time. Yeah, it's great, man. He's doing great.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Your staff is so great.
So if you notice an uptick in our social media, it's Ronan, Lauren, the photographer, and Jaden, our videographer.
yeah, man.
Yeah, way to break the fourth wall 4 minutes into the show, Joe. It's not just Alan and I talking to a bunch of barrels. By the way, we're coming to you from. Let's break it down a little bit. There's many layers to this onion.
Right.
We're in the Speakeasy, so people don't realize that we're not just doing shows in the Dome. We have 4 walls
Yes.
and indoor plumbing.
And an insane amount of rooms.
Yeah, this is one of the many rooms. Yeah, so this is the Speakeasy. It literally was somewhere where people drank and they had their own exit, and you would never know you're even in here.
It's a sweet room, man. You've shown me a lot of this place.
Yeah,
It seems like every time I come, I see more. There's
Right.
always something else, another layered appeal.
right.
And this is a cool room.
Another thing
Really
to
cool
sell.
room. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm just trying to let people know that because literally Vic DiPotato last weekend, we had 700 people in the ballroom.
Amazing.
I must have gotten 100 phone calls going, we inside or outside? Are we in? Are we out? Are we in? Are we outside?
Oh, man. That video Vic did.
Dude. So we had CJ Santangelo and the Hot Sauce Junkies, and they came and they did the official after party, played their like classic rock band.
Nice.
And they were working well. Vic was on stage, wanted a water, and we ran out of water. So all of a sudden, a water comes behind the curtain, and he goes, "What? Where the heck did you come from?" And like the guy CJ's not a small dude, and he was like waving the flag beforehand. He stayed as long as he could.
That was the guy from
That
the
was the
band.
guy.
Okay,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
on, right on.
So he sat as long as people wanted to meet him. But he put the video out. I didn't realize he was doing like
That video was great.
saying his own name wrong in line, and people were like, "Oh, it's you."
That was priceless.
Right.
I mean, that was
so
great.
the band goes, you got to bring him on stage. You got to have him sing "Fly Eagles Fly." So I bring him into the back into the ballroom. The band's on stage. The maniac CJ Santangelo is throwing the Eagles flag, and Vic does one big, like exhale, right? And he goes, "I'm gonna get killed for this, like online, right? Like he's like, he's a huge Giants.
'cause he's a Giants
He's
guy,
a
that's
Giants
right,
fan,
that's right.
originally from Brooklyn. He's got to go home. You know what I mean? Like he can't do this. His
Right.
fans are gonna kill him. You know?
But PA brought 700 people on a Friday night. Or whatever night it was.
Yeah. But so he went on stage. He put the Jalen Hurts jersey on. He put a dog chain like Eagles, like Flavor Flav, and did the Fly Eagles Fly. We get back in the dressing room and we start talking, and I go, "You didn't just do that for me, right?" He goes, "No." So he had went on John DeBella on WMGK
Yeah.
the Friday before. I didn't realize it. Said if we sell it out, I'll sing Fly Eagles Fly. And he goes, "But I'm mad because the band called me out on it."
That's awesome.
He goes, "I was going to let
He
it
was gonna
slide.
let it slide.
I was going to
That's
let it
great.
slide."
He's going to try and get it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
You got a Giant fan to sing Fly Eagles Fly. That's
Dude, it's
beautiful.
so cool. And when he left, I was like, "Oh, I'll walk you out to your car." He goes, "I got it. Like, I'm a grown man. I could do it." But he goes, "But when am I coming back?" I had to give him the date right then and there. I go, August 25th. He goes, "All right, I'll see you later."
Man,
he
that's
just
so
didn't
cool.
want to leave. And he wanted a SoulJoel's hoodie.
That's so awesome. How far back do you go with Vic?
So Vic did my first ever Staten Island Comedy Festival that I produced for 8 years. He did the first every year, the grand finale.
Wow.
And on a Sunday night, and it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and he even talked about that. And I go, "Vic, I'd like to forget." He goes, "Never forget those days. You
so
never
cool.
forget." Just such a cool dude, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
His like, he was always successful, but this bump he's gotten since those videos blew up is so cool, man.
Dude, it's so cool, man.
Love seeing that.
Yeah. And all the other comics, man. That's what I was going to say. Like, so you came out because you heard about us on the Joe List
Right.
and Mark Norman Tuesdays with Stories.
Yep.
And then
August 1st, 2020.
Yeah. Oh, You remember?
I remember, yes.
Yeah.
It was an important date for because that's why I'm sitting here right now.
And then you kept track of all the dates, like Chris Sharp and stuff like that, and all the comics. And now you're even sending me requests of comics you want to see.
Which you are filling when you sent. Can we say who
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most recent booking was?
Yeah.
You sent me a text yesterday that you're having Jamie Kennedy, which is
Jamie
killer.
Kennedy, which is so it's going to be the opening weekend of the Dome, May 19th and May 20th.
Beautiful.
Now Jamie, so he sent me a text, and he goes, "You haven't christened the new Dome yet?" I said, "No, you misunderstood what I said. I said we have, but you're going to be the opening weekend for this year." He goes, "Perfect, Memorial Day." I said, we do it Memorial Day. No one in the state of Pennsylvania is going to be here.
That's right.
He goes, "All right, you know best. Let's do the weekend before." So we're doing May 19th and 20th. So that'll be the first
beautiful,
weekend.
brother. Beautiful.
Yeah. So since it's the first podcast, we got to welcome our first guest. It's going to be Julian McCullough.
Super excited.
Hey,
you get the
guys.
seat of honor, my friend.
I was just wandering around the grounds. How's it going? Thanks for having me. Are people at home going to know what's going on here? What you're creating?
No.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
So the podcast is called Bring 'Em Out.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Not only because
So it's too late to change it?
oh, we're off to the races.
Somebody after the show like came up to me and they go, "Hey man, I really like how mean you are." And I was like,
Wait, no way.
"Yeah." He goes, "You're really funny when you're mean," and I was like, "Thanks. I just heard mean." So,
Dude, but I was just telling Alan, like, comics can't not make fun. Like, that almost means that, like,
it's hard.
But that means you like me.
It means if I didn't like you or respect you, I wouldn't have talked about the place. Well, it just comes out different. You can tell. You can
Right.
tell the way someone's making fun of some place if they love it or if they're actually like, this
Right.
place sucks.
Right,
you know?
right.
And I was having so much fun making fun of it that I feel like
Which
my
you
love
always
showed
do.
through.
Yeah. When you moved the so tonight we did the show, and that's you headlined, obviously, and but you took the curtain back, which
Are you calling that a curtain? That thing.
I know. I said to myself this morning, my dad was like, Julian's gonna. He actually called it. He goes, "Julian's gonna kill you." Because I wanted to actually make tonight the first night that I have my logo in the background, which would make sense.
Yeah.
But I left that, and you're welcome.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's great that a massage place went out of business and you were able to grab that shower curtain before it just went to the trash. You know, you were like, you know what? That should be the backdrop.
Oh my God.
No, it was, but it sounds great in there. You know what's great about comedy, about having a comedy club is, and somebody who understands it, it's great that you do it and you have been on stage this whole time because you understand what's needed and it's not much, but it's amazing how many people get it wrong.
Overlook it.
It's crazy.
2 speakers, a microphone,
Good sound, low ceiling,
blinding spotlight.
even the light is actually, of the 3 things, is the least important, I think.
Okay.
Sound is more important. I guess the light's more important if you're like good looking and that's all you got. But like if it's
It's just one of the many things about Julian.
yeah. But well, I mean, it's let's be honest.
Part of the package.
I used to be hot. Now I'm like, I got to be funny. But a low ceiling, you got to keep them uncomfortable. Those
Right.
chairs are straight up and down in the back, so it's like people can't slouch and like lay
so they're
down
good.
and stuff.
It's good.
They're good because they're like sit up and listen. It's like an uncomfortable crowd is a great crowd.
Right.
You don't want them like. That's why I love the movie theater gig. But people are just like
Right.
it's like they're watching Netflix. They're not like laughing.
No.
And that room has a great energy to it.
Right.
So yeah, it's good.
People don't
And-
realize that. Oh, God.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying you and I went to high school together. We grew up together.
Yeah.
When I first started comedy is when it's always things in perspective, but like you had just gotten past at the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like,
2005.
I was like, Julian's blowing up.
Yeah. That's that. Guy's never gonna have to work again. That's like $125 a host spot. He's getting 2 of those a week. I hope he has an accountant.
Where it is, he moved to Manhattan.
Yeah. No, that was 2005. I was still going back and forth between New Brunswick because I worked at the Stress Factory.
Yeah.
I was still working there on the weekends because I still wasn't getting weekend spots at the Cellar. So I was going, I had an apartment in Brooklyn. I would take the train to New Brunswick every weekend to work at the Stress Factory. And I'll say it now because who cares? I was getting $400 a week to do that. And then whatever I could get at the Cellar was like either $25 a spot on a weekend, on a weeknight for a spot, or $125 to host. So on a good week, I made $525, $550 a week.
But it was so up and down.
Yeah, it was up and down, and also, but like I was
living in Brooklyn?
I was like choosing like pizza or laundry, like it was that kind of scraping by. Wow. The margin was tight.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. And then that's when you got Live at Gotham, and then you got
yeah, my first like TV break was Live at Gotham. But I do remember getting the Cellar. Of all the things, like Cellar, there's Montreal, there's TV. And TV, I don't want to downplay the TV thing, but getting into the Cellar was the first time. That was the first thing I got outside of the Stress Factory. So it was like, not only was it validation, it was like the best one you can get in the city. And I didn't realize how much it made me hated at the time. Because I was just like, we're all happy for me, right, guys? Like I'm an idiot, and I had some friends that were headliners that would come through the Stress Factory. So, Big J and all, Greg Giraldo and all these. There were a lot of great guys that were like actually just happy for me. But guys like my level were like, what the?
How did you?
Because this was back when the only guys there, it was like mostly just Tough Crowd. It was like
right.
There were 8 spots total. So 8 comics in a night. Mm-hmm. And, you mix it up a little bit. There might have been 30 guys working there,
30
which is
comics
like
total
on the roster, which is like now there's, I don't even know. They have 4 rooms. They have like 1 million. I mean, there's 1 million comics on that thing now.
Right.
But when I was there, it was literally like Colin Quinn, Patrice O'Neill, Greg Giraldo, Nick DiPaolo, Jim Norton when he was just like annihilating on Opie and Anthony.
And he had to use a fake name.
Yeah, he had to,
because he
wanted to work there every night, but he didn't want Opie and Anthony fans there.
Yeah. Right.
And I asked if I could have a fake name just to be funny, because no one knew who I was. So I was like, "Can I get a fake name on there?" And Esty was like, "No." She was like, she didn't even know I was joking. She was just like, "No." She's like, I'm not going to take time to change. Yeah. But going on in that lineup was just crazy because you're just like, it was me and Kurt Metzger were the 2 youngest guys on the thing, and Kurt looked old, but he was, he's only like 2 years older than me.
That's wild to even think about.
Yeah. And Jay was working there too. And me and Jay are about the same age.
Yeah.
And that was basically it for like the young guys, and no one else. Like it was crazy. How impossible it was to get into that place.
That was the famous Cellar table days, huh?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you wouldn't. Burr said it great. He goes. It was so nerve-wracking in the early days that I would be heading to the Cellar, and if my jeans were wrinkled, I'd go home and change because it's like I'm not giving him this.
No,
that's what Burr would say.
Yeah. That's how scary it was. Right. Like with Keith Robinson, and they used to do this thing. Oh my God, it was so great, where they would pick something about somebody, start riffing on it, and then they would chant. So these like just assholes in the back of the room. If it was like it was like pink. You wore a pink shirt. Like God forbid you wore like a pink shirt, right? They go, Julian's got a pink shirt. Julian's got a pink shirt, and they're slamming the table, and it's like 8 of the loudest dudes in the restaurant just like slamming a table and chanting Julian's got a pink shirt until it gets like a fever pitch, and then it would be over and everybody would die laughing. And that's what it felt like walking in there every night. Like that might happen.
Dude, like it was 8th grade.
Oh, 100%. It was a nightmare. I was like, I can't believe I worked my ass off to get back here. Why am I? But I look back on it, I just love it. I mean, I used to sit in that room all night and I would just watch comedy, which is like insane to think about now.
Right. And you don't see those guys a lot because now everybody's headlining and like you're all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it was great because once you start doing the road a lot, you'll never see these guys.
Right.
You know? So.
But you're like, they can't take those years away from us.
No, it was a great time. It really was. But I was never comfortable. You were never. I was. Well, that's not right. Well, I drank a lot. And that helped actually with the because there's so much social anxiety in that kind of situation.
And you're also at that time you were hosting, so you're actually have a different relationship because you have to bring them up.
Yeah, and it helped because they had to talk to me. They had to like it.
Yeah, look, I guess it could be good or bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, that's a time I'll never forget. And learning. I remember. Just slowly building some status there was like the coolest feeling in the world because you just never thought it would be like that. But like the first week, I remember I got a crush on one of the waitresses.
Boy!
And her name was
that's a comedy 101. No.
And she, I remember I was like they were cleaning up after the show one night, and it's like 2:00 in the morning, and I go, hey, I don't know, maybe we could like. Get a drink or something, right? And she goes, try again when you're getting real spots.
No.
Yeah, because I was still just hosting.
Yeah.
And I mean, talk about a knife in the heart, dude. I mean, I'm already like crying myself to sleep that I'm not getting better and getting more spots. And then to have one of the waitresses go, oh no, that's real. Like you need to get better. Because you're like, it'll work out, and maybe I'm being hard on myself. And then to have somebody be like, no, you're not. You should really work on...
taking the wind out of your sails.
Yeah.
Like just zapping the energy right out of the room.
Yeah, like, you're not attractive yet. I'll never forget that.
But that's one of the things that you and I have talked about, like being like empathic, like you read a room. That's one thing that I love watching you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but you joke around with the crowd, and then all of a sudden, like, you're like, oh, what the guy was Russian because you have that one joke.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I had like 8 jokes about I had to stop writing jokes about Russian people for a while.
It was getting unsafe.
Yeah, I was getting like, what am I doing? I sound like it's propaganda.
But the guy, you're like, well, like what are you in the mafia or something? And like you were joking around that he is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And though after the show, you're like, oh, could you like... No, on stage you're like,
oh yeah, I vaguely remember this now.
So he goes, could you take...
A lot of these are from when I was still drinking. So Joel's like, remember? And I'm like, that sounds great, dude. That sounds like something I would say.
So you said you're like, if you're in the mafia, like, could you get rid of someone for me? And he was in the audience.
This was on stage, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, yep. So like after the show, he was like, can I talk to Julian? And Julian comes over and he goes, yeah. And he goes, no, I was just joking. He goes, give me a name.
Yeah. I do kind of remember that. And
you're like,
and he was, I don't know that he was like ready to actually do that, but he was definitely like a real guy.
Yeah. He was genuinely interested in talking to you more about it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, no. I was... I'm like real tough up there, but as soon as I'm off stage, I'm like, I didn't mean any of that. Please, go away.
Well, any other times like that, like on stage, or that you can remember?
Well, one of the weirdest things that I've had a couple of. I thought I was a good people reader.
Oh,
because
I think you're one of the best.
Well, so I thought so too, and it turns out that I'm not. I'm good at reading crowds. Okay. And I'm good at like
not zeroing in.
I'm good at zeroing in a stage in a room full of people. I'm really good at like sussing out like what's type of person someone is. I'm really good at that in that setting. When it comes to my personal life, I have given way too much credit to terrible people. So I'm like not good at. I'm not a good judge of character like one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
This doesn't carry this superpower.
Like I think this guy's great, but like
Wrong again.
Alan might be. Yeah. This is why. Like I would leave this going like I would trust this guy with my life. And you're gonna be like, oh, dude, I don't even want him on the show. He's local mafia. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, he's from Lancaster. He's the Amish
mafia.
Yeah. Which is you do not want to get an Amish mafia hit because it goes so slow. they don't have guns. So you're like, oh my God, are they gonna beat me to death by hand? This is gonna take 46 minutes. I'm really good. I have like almost psychic
Abilities.
experiences when I'm on stage. It's really weird, and it's not worth anything. Like I'm not bragging because I don't get anything for it.
Right.
It's just true. So 2 of the craziest things that ever happened was, one, I was warming up for Colbert. I used to warm up the Colbert Report back when that was a show
on the Comedy Central. Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to play games with the crowd after a while, because that show was like, I would go out and I might be out there for 10 minutes and I might be out there for an hour.
Right.
And I didn't know until I was already out there.
Right. People don't know. It's like you're warming up the live studio audience before the show gets taped for TV.
Right. And they're finalizing the rewrite while I'm doing that.
Right.
And The Daily Show was run like a machine, where it was like you went out there for 10 minutes and you brought out Jon Stewart, because I did that a few times. But Colbert was much more like he cared.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, he's super, super professional. But they cared. I don't know how to say this diplomatically. I feel like they were like, let him wait, because we're not going to put out something that we're not the most proud of.
Right.
So if they have to wait another 45 minutes, they can wait another 45 minutes.
But that, from your perspective, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, but I started to really enjoy it, and it kind of took something that I was kind of good at, which was crowd work, and made it something that I needed to be great at.
Right.
And so, and not to do it in the way that's like stock bull crap,
Right.
like nice shirt, like, you know, none of that stuff. Or like, what do you do for a living? I got very good at like, I could just be out there. It was like swimming. I could just be out there and comfortably talk to a crowd for an hour, and it would never felt slow.
Well, that's amazing, because a couple times, like not even tonight, but in general, like I felt uncomfortable, and like you're just cool as a cucumber.
Oh, when you were on stage? I thought you were going to be like,
No, you were on stage.
You felt uncomfortable while I was on stage?
No, a couple times, like when I don't know where you're going to go with it. Like I'm saying, and like I don't know what your plan is, because I'm trying to figure it out, like a maniac in the back of the room,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't know where this is going, and like, boom, and then you just like destroy it.
Well, also, it sounds like you should get a prescription for like Xanax or something like that. But we can talk about that after the show. But what do I know? I'm not a people reader. I won't do crowd work if it's giving you a heart attack back there. I'm so sorry.
No.
Did you feel scared? Were you scared all night?
No.
Okay. No. When you're in a plane, are you like, you're like, I don't know if we're supposed to be this close to these clouds, and then it lands. He lands the plane. You're like, oh,
That was a close.
this guy's good. This guy's good.
You know, someone told me recently I have big mook energy.
I'm not. That sounds problematic language. I don't know if we're still allowed to say mook. I don't know what that is, but it sounds bad. So anyway, is he a mook?
Sorry.
Is he a mook? What's a mook?
It's like an Italian thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's a
Like a
mook?
jabroni.
That's in yeah. It's I just remember from Mean Streets, the first Martin Scorsese movie, where he goes,
We'll
"You're a
edit-
mook." He goes, "What's a mook?"
We'll edit this in post.
Okay, good. So just to be clear, it's an M word.
Okay.
So anyway, so I'm doing the Colbert thing, and one time I started to play games with it, where I'm like, I've gotten pretty good doing this. I'm pretty good at telling what people are, what they do. Like, I don't ask people what they do. I'll tell you what you do, right? So I'm playing that game, and I go, raise your hand if you're willing to interact with me, and I'll guess what you do for a living. So I do it, and like 6 people raise their hand, and this one dude raises his hand, and he's got a beard like this, right? No, like almost exactly. Not as nice.
Well,
But you know, this is like classy.
Yeah. Right. It goes with his Eagles jersey.
Yeah, this is like the Charlie's Angels accountant.
Okay.
So Charlie's Angel, like that's such an old. I'm so old.
Possible.
Nailed it.
So anyway, this guy. So he's got a beard like this. He's got a Carlin ponytail, like a old, like white hair in the back ponytail, wearing a black turtleneck and black pants. And I'm like, oh, well, I got to do this guy. I mean, he looks like such a character. Everybody else looks like normal people. So he goes, I go, sir, I'll do you. He goes, I go, do you currently work? And he said, yes. And he was probably 60 years old. And I go, okay, you're in a think tank. Now, I couldn't remember the last time I said the words think tank. I don't know the last time I ever talked about a think tank. I've never met anyone from a think tank. I wasn't sure they were a real thing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's like one of those jobs where you're like, what is that?
Right. But you gotta think
you
fast.
You just kind of like assume in life you've heard of them, so you think they're real, but you don't even know what they look like. And you think it's like a real tank. You're like, so I just I just went with my, like, sometimes you're just in a zone and you just say it. You don't overthink it. And I go, you're in a think tank. And he goes, I am in a think tank. Jeez. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, I'm in a think tank. I go, you're not in a think tank. And he goes, yeah. And he pulls out his business card. And he was in some, like, Israeli think tank in Washington, D.C. I go, the crowd is just like,
what's happening?
yeah, they're not cheering. They're just like, that's weird. So he knows this guy? Like, it was like that.
Right. Like a plant.
Yeah, or like they were just like, that's too weird to be
Can't be as cool
impressive.
as it seems to be.
Exactly. They were like, it's almost like if he was, if somebody had like a jelly bean on top of their head, like 50 feet away, and I was like, took a playing card and I was just like that, and just like took the jelly bean off. And people were like, I guess that's easy to do. Like, I don't know, like it's so insane that, and I did it so casually that they just didn't appreciate it.
Right on.
So I go, I think we all need to stop for a second. I can't tell. I've never met anyone in a think tank. I didn't even know if they were real. I go, raise your hand if you know anybody ever, if you've ever met somebody that's in a think tank, and nobody raised their hand. I go, me neither. And I just guessed that guy's in a think tank. And they were like, okay, I guess that's amazing. What are we supposed to do? I go, I don't know either, but this is crazy.
Yeah. The producer comes over your shoulder and go, can you bring out Colbert now?
Yeah. And they go, this is insane, but also like this is a show. So that was a crazy one. I mean, what a random
dude.
I'll never forget that. And then the other one that is pretty fun is I was covering a private gig that Hannibal couldn't do. He was like, we were both living in the city at the time.
Yeah.
And Hannibal's like, I agreed to do some weird fundraiser. I'm not even sure what it is. He's like, can you go down and do it? And I was like, sure. He goes, it's in a brownstone on 25th and 3rd. I go, okay. All right. So I get to this brownstone, and it's a beautiful old brownstone, like old New York, Manhattan brownstone. And I walk up the stairs, and this like he was a gentleman. I don't know how else to say it. He had like perfect hair, middle age. He was like, "You must be Julian," and he shook my hand like a man, perfect skin, perfect everything, He's like, "Come on inside. Thank you so much for covering for Hannibal." And I go, "Sure," or Mr. Burris or whatever. I walk in, and I'm in the foyer of this place, and I'm like, "Where am I?" I mean, there's oil paintings all over the walls, and like, I'm not cultured or whatever, but I took art history in high school. Mr. Heiser.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Mr. Heiser.
Yeah, the best.
The best.
If they were all Mr. Heiser, we'd all be geniuses.
Yeah.
So
we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be owning our own museums. So, but I'm like, these are old, real paintings, and I recognize. I had a couple of favorites, like John Singer Sargent is an American painter that painted at the turn of the century, and I'm like, that's a John Singer Sargent painting. Like I was like, what is this? I don't know any details about it. So then he's like bringing me up the stairs, and this whole place is like everything's beautiful wood and everything. And people are moving around, they're busy, and they're like, there's people carrying food and whatever. And he's like, come on upstairs. It's on the top floor. The show's on the top floor. I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, is this Get Out? But it's like these are super white people, and I'm like just not white enough that I'm like considered like
the Aryan race.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm like a mutt. They're like, close enough. Well,
how high does your hand go?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what I'm going for. So we go up.
Are you feeling unsafe?
No, I'm just like I'm feeling
unsure.
like. Yeah, I feel like in the movie when the street urchin kid like stumbles into the palace and like no one's making him leave yet, and you're just like, okay, I guess I'll do this until someone kicks me out. It was crazy. Everybody had great posture. So we get up to top floor, and there's like it's this room that is about like the size of an attic, I guess, but it's got a full ceiling. And they had this beautiful little stage set up with like red curtains and gold tassel and everything. And it looked like it was for like kids to play theater at. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, and it kind of was. I think it was like the fun top room for the kids to play in, and they turned it into the showroom. So there's catering on the side, and all these people are milling around standing, and they bring me backstage, and they go, all right, well, you're going to do a half an hour, and there's no restrictions, but I didn't need to be told not to be dirty because it was just so nice that like you'd have to be a psychopath to be like, all right, who's jerking off in here? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you? So
I can read a room.
Yeah, and what's so funny is how many comics I know that would be able to do that. They would go out there and literally be like, so I was eating out my chick the other night, and you'd just be like, what are you doing? Like,
Where'd I lose them?
Literally read the room. What is wrong with you? So they were lucky they had me. So
not a sociopath.
Right. So it turns out I'm doing this fundraiser, and there's maybe 50 people, and I'm doing some stuff, and they're being very nice. They're like laughing nicely, and I'm doing what I did with your room, where I'm like looking around. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I feel like I'm in a dollhouse, and I'm gonna be kept here. like I'm not gonna get to leave. I don't know what's going on. And they're laughing politely and laughing.
Oh, politely, not
politely.
Like, yeah.
I mean, I'm not doing badly, but they're
right.
It just felt nice, but it felt like they're like nice to everyone.
Right.
It's hard to explain. I guess it's like manners.
Country club laughter.
Exactly. Like people that like have class and know how to behave.
They don't look like fools.
No,
they refuse
do not
to look like
fools. No. But they're also not going to like lose it laughing. They're not that kind either. So, I'm like maybe 15 minutes in, and I start looking at the crowd like individually. And I'm like doing this, and I'm looking around, and I go, man, this looks like a Gatsby party. What is going on in here? And they like laugh a little bit harder. And that's how you know it's like playing hot and cold with a kid when you're like, you're hot, you're heating up.
Right.
Well, you start feeling out a crowd, start saying lines, and you can hear if you're getting onto something.
Right.
Right. So I say something like that, and they laugh a little harder. And I go, okay. I go, wait a second. Did you guys make a lot of money in 2008? And they laugh really hard. And I'm like, okay. So we're at least top 1%, but I don't know what this is yet. And then this guy.
You didn't say that out loud, but you're like.
I didn't say the top 1% part, but I said the 2008 part.
Yeah.
And they laughed.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, oh, God, what is this? You know, or is this like investment banker douchebags? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah. So then this guy just like stands out to me in the middle of the room, and he's got blonde hair, and it's like an old style where it's like he's got like blonde bangs that are like golden straw, just like beautiful. He looked perfect. I don't know how else to describe it. He had like a perfect chin. He just perfectly symmetrical face, and the way they talk about movie stars when they walk in a room, you're just like, who is that guy? Like they just take over the room, right? Without saying anything. He had that kind of like presence, and that's why I noticed him, because all of a sudden, once I noticed him at all, it was like everybody else disappeared. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I go, Jesus Christ. I go, what are you, like Theodore Kennedy V or something? And they get silent, and then they start laughing really hard. And I go, what just happened? And his girlfriend goes, this is Theodore Kennedy V. What? No. Sorry, what? Not Kennedy. Roosevelt. Theodore, I go, what do you like? Theodore? I said Roosevelt. I didn't say Kennedy. I was talking about Kennedy earlier. That's why I mixed it up. I go, what are you, Theodore Roosevelt V? And that happens. And then his girlfriend goes, he's Theodore Roosevelt V. And I go, what? I go, all right, you know, okay, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
And they all laugh again. I go, what? Are you really? I go, you look like you're from one of these paintings. Is this happening? He goes, yeah. They go, don't you know what this is? I go, no, what is it? And they go, this is the Roosevelt Foundation. We are raising money to make teddy bears. Because teddy bear comes from Theodore Roosevelt. He invented the teddy bear, or they named the teddy bear after the original.
Right.
take the money that we make from this fundraiser, and we make as many bears by hand. We pay like artisans to make the bears, and then we're gonna take them to the children's hospital this week. That's what this is. And I go, so you're literally Theodore Roosevelt V. Your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was Theodore Roosevelt. And he goes, yeah. I go, what's your address? He goes, what? I go, I want to know where you live. I'm coming over. I want to see your house. He goes, 28 Bond Street, Manhattan. I was like, what? He doesn't live there anymore. I've been Googling it. But that was another crazy crowd one where I guessed. I don't know if I said the fifth, but I said, what are you, one of the Theodore Roosevelt, the third or whatever like that, but he was the fifth. And then afterwards, the lights come on, and I'm talking, and it's like talking like talented Mr. Ripley or like, like that. Yeah, yeah. These people are just so gorgeous. You're just like, what is going on? How do I stay here? I'll do anything to stay here. Yeah. Like, give me your clothes. I'll murder somebody you don't want around. Just let me stay in this world.
And they were the results of a century of eugenics.
Exactly. I mean, this guy was, the manners were perfect. He had beautiful eyes, eye contact. Everything was kind of funny. Everything was wonderful. Like, he just knew how to handle. I mean, unreal. I go, do you work? And he goes, yeah, I'm in finance. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
How old of a man was he?
He was probably 35, and I was like 30 or 28. Yeah. And his girlfriend looked like Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, it was just like unreal,
insane.
Being around that kind of like old money is just not something that people like us get to be around very often. Right. But that's old money. That's like old money and old power that goes back. I mean,
to the Mayflower.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And like the elements, like fire, wind, and they own water. You know what I mean? Like that guy's in fire. He owns fire.
Working on wind.
His family, they have fire, and then they do earth. It's crazy. Wow. So that was nuts.
I thought you were walking into an Eyes Wide Shut scenario.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with it, but I was like, you're too nice to be Eyes Wide. I remember saying, like, you're too nice to be Eyes Wide Shut. Like, I don't see that breaking out right here, I go, I kind of feel like I'm in school,
Yeah.
So, wow. That was crazy.
That's wild.
But, reading a room it's just survival, and the Stress Factory, where it started, was such a raucous place that you had to figure out how to tame a crowd. I knew how to tame a crowd before I was funny at all.
Right.
Like, I didn't have any good material at all. But I already knew how to talk to a crowd and like get them to listen.
Yeah. Because like the whole like not setup, but like there's 300 people and
360 like Jersey Italians that don't, and I'm 20,
and they're not there to see you.
No,
but like
I didn't even want to see me. So. The first time I ever did comedy was on that stage at a sold-out Friday night show.
Really?
Yeah.
First time you ever did it?
Yeah. Vinny was like, "You're going up because if you keep saying you want to, I'm just making you go up."
That's the Vinny Brand place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and you were working there already.
Yeah, I got a job because I wanted to get into comedy. Okay. So I got a job like seating the room, basically.
Right.
And then and like bussing tables. But I told Vinny, like, I want to do comedy. And then I just, for 6 months, was watching comedy and going, like, I can't do it. This is like, I mean, it was all the best people we've looked up to for the past 20 years.
Right.
So I'm like, I can't do this. And then he was like, it's been, one day after work, he was like, it's been 6 months. You haven't even asked me if you want to go on stage. Instead of, usually, I mean, what we're used to is guys being like, yo, put me up, man. Yeah. And he's like, I had not mentioned it since the interview. So he was like, all right. What's going on here? You're going on tomorrow night. And I had a panic attack all day long. And I went on stage, sold out crowd. I'd never held a microphone. I'd never been on a stage. I'd never seen a mic. I'd never seen a spotlight. Yeah. I'd never spoken in front of people. Maybe at a school presentation in front of 20 kids or whatever.
What's a light?
Exactly. Nothing. I mean, and I couldn't even look up. I was like staring at the floor, mumbling. The feeling in the room was, why are they making this kid do this? Because it didn't look like I wanted to be there. It was so bad.
Oh, wow.
All I remember one thing I thought of to say, and it was about how when you live with roommates, which I've already lost 80% of the room, right? Because none of these, they're adults.
Yeah. They commuted to New Brunswick. They didn't live there.
Yeah, exactly. They all have like Sopranos houses. And they came in and then they want to hear some 20-year-old talk about living with roommates. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
So you live with roommates and you haven't done your laundry. You got to have a strategy if you need to borrow your roommate's underwear. You go in the middle of the dirty clothes pile because you don't want to do the top. That's fresh, and you don't want to. I'm already making this 1,000 times better than I said it, and it's still terrible. I go, you don't want to get the top.
You're punching it
the
up.
top on. Yeah, you want to take the top pair because that's like fresh off the tap. You don't want to go to the bottom because that's been marinating. So you just kind of want to pick a pair of underwear out of the middle of the pile and wear those. And the crowd was like, what the fuck? Like, they were just silent. They were 360 people were like, what is this guy talking about? You can't be like, it was all right, right? Like, when no one out of 360 people
Right.
laughed, it was over. Like,
wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, it was bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. That night I went home and I drank vodka out of a handle.
Oh no.
And I wouldn't even sleep in my own bed because I didn't want to smell my own sheets. I was like so disgusted. And I slept in my roommate Flynn's bed with a bottle of vodka because I was like having an insane like existential crisis. Because I was like, I'm funny. That's what I am. It's all I got. And 360 people were like, you're not funny at all. So that was like a dark night of the soul.
Way to throw yourself in the fire, bro.
Jeez.
I go back to work the next day and Vinny goes, you're going on again tonight. And I was like, no.
Well, I was gonna say there's nowhere to go but up from here. But
Well,
not if
that's
you-
how he was looking at it. And I was like, I don't know. I could still kill myself, Vinny. So it took forever for me to get a laugh.
Yeah. I mean, all these stories have been so great, but
we gotta go.
Well, no, we don't have to go. I was gonna ask you. I was like almost like a mic drop with the last couple of stories, but. You and I have been on this journey for a while.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm so proud. This place is amazing. I can't believe you've done. From day one, I couldn't believe the first thing you did, and it was probably the worst. Like, probably like some VFW hall in like rural coal mining Pennsylvania. It's like
Yeah.
6 people showed up, and I'm like, Joel, how'd you do this? This is amazing. This is incredible. These people are here to see us. And you just every time I see you, it's like, oh yeah, now I run the town, and it's like. It's so funny because no matter from day one, you've been the most stressed out dude I've ever known, but it keeps getting bigger. I'm like, he's gonna explode. He's just gonna his body is gonna explode.
No, you keep adding to it.
It's like it's almost like you need that stress to keep your body from exploding. It's like you know what I mean. You need that pressure to keep you in.
I'm the guy that's gonna retire and die.
Yeah. The day you relax is the day you just have a stroke.
He's gonna die and split open into a diamond.
Yeah, exactly. His heart will be a diamond microphone.
Oh God, great. I was gonna ask you for like a favorite SoulJoel road story or like a gig.
I
mean, oh no.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
Well, you should have warned me before that you were going to ask me this. I don't know. It's there's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell anybody the real stuff. But no, I'm kidding. I made it real weird.
Tune into the Patreon.
Dude, I actually have one. I picked you up and it was in my grandmother's hometown.
I just want to say before he tells this.
Oh.
I'd say 7 out of 10 stories he tells me about me, I'm like, I'm not sure that was me. But he's always on top of it. So it is me, but I just want the world to know I probably won't remember this. But go ahead.
So I picked him up in Manhattan. We're going out to my grandmother's hometown. We're doing a fundraiser, like you said. And all my relatives are coming and everything like that. I picked him up in Manhattan with the other comic. And it was when you still like burn CDs to get in the car. And he was like, well, I took it upon...
How long's this drive?
Yeah. So he's like, I took it upon myself to I burned the CD. He goes, it'll get us there for the whole 6-hour ride. I go, like 4.5. And you're like, it's 4.5? You're like, you didn't think I looked it up earlier? I go, it's 6. You're like, I know. That's why I had...
That was back when you still had to make things sound better to get people to do them. You're like, it's 4.5 hours. It's real quick. It's gonna be it's a real nice place. It's inside. It's definitely inside.
100 advance ticket sales.
And then you get there. It's 7 hours away. It's a field, and
There's 3 of Joel's relatives. And
yeah,
Oh, God.
and there's an auction first. But anyway. So I brought this I burned a CD for us.
Yacht Rock.
No, the original one.
Yeah.
I got into yacht rock a little bit later.
Oh, that's true.
This was just straight up soft 80s ballads. Like, I remember putting it in, and it was like REO Speedwagon, Richard Marx, The Cars Drive. Like it was everybody's softest, saddest song, and it was all love songs and stuff. Almost Paradise. Like, I don't know how old people are, but
we in the car we once played a game called.
I'm like Joel. You don't know these songs? What, did you grow up Mormon? He's like, no, I'm just. You're not supposed to know these songs. Like what? I had the musical taste of a 48-year-old woman when I was like 26.
We did a show in Maryland, and on the way back we played a game called Yes Yacht Rock or No Yacht Rock.
Yacht or Nyat, it's called. Yeah. And that's not my game. That's a real game.
That's great.
That's a podcast.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
That's right.
The Yacht Rock. It's called Beyond Yacht Rock, and it's they do yacht or Nyat. And it's
That's
like
hilarious.
there's like all these criteria for if a song is yacht rock or not. Because I became friends with the guys who invented the term yacht rock, and
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No way.
And so yacht rock became one of those phrases that everybody just used for easy listening music.
Yeah.
But it's like so much more complicated than that.
It's a
And
specific sort of.
there's like
There's a lot
four
of late
columns.
70s, early
There's
80s.
4 columns of like. It's very involved. Wow. Diagnosing it, it's almost like diagnosing someone with like a mental disorder. It's like that's how complicated it is. Yeah. So, but it's sophisticated jazz-influenced pop music, made from
prime example, right?
Yes, 1976 to 1984
Okay.
is the parameter. I'm a little rusty. I haven't been as into the yacht. That was and. Christopher Cross, Sailing, and Ride Like the Wind. Well, Sailing especially is a 100 on the Yahtzee scale.
Right on.
But that's
just
a
brushing off the
slower-
rust.
That's a slower track than is normally considered. So the best version, like the what do you call it? The bullseye on the target of yacht rock is "What a Fool Believes" by the Doobie Brothers.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yep.
dun, 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 dun.
Came from somewhere
Yeah.
back
So it's
in
called the
long
Doobie
ago.
Bounce. So it's got to have a little bit of bounce. Kenny Loggins had a lot of that
Yes,
sound,
yeah.
heart to heart, and This Is It. That song.
We Had It All by Bernie, whatever his name. We had it all, just like Bogey and Bacall.
Oh.
He's on a boat in the video.
No, that's not yacht rock.
No?
No.
I'm very disappointed with
It's
myself.
not sophisticated enough. It's too. Is that not Dupree? He did Steal Away. We had it. That's not England Dan, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's
Monterey. What is that song?
Google it.
Marina Del Rey. Right?
It's called We Had. Oh, you might be right.
Oh no! It's We Had It All. Sorry, this is the part you edit out. Is old guys trying to remember the name of the song? Oh God!
My bad,
talk
I
about
thought it was
excellent
on target
podcasting. No, it's my fault. But that is not a yacht rock song.
Right
No
on.
offense.
No.
I was much harsher about it before. I'd be like, "No, idiot!" Now I'm like,
Next track.
yeah. So, it didn't just have. People thought it had to be about sailing, or if it was about sailing, then it was like that count. It's like no.
Right.
It's like piano or electric piano.
Can't be about love.
Poppy. No, it can't be. No, it has to be about fools and love. A lot of times it's like I was such a fool for it.
I'm just remembering what you were saying to me in the
straight-ahead
backseat as I
love
was
song,
driving
like,
up
I just-
I-95.
I just love you so much. That's not yacht rock. But like I was a fool for loving you. It's definitely yacht rock.
Okay.
Perfect.
That kind of thing. So.
This is fun, man. I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, no problem. Your journey has been unreal. I can't believe this is how even my friends from home were like, "Oh my God, this guy," So I'm sure there's like a lot of stress that I don't want to hear about, but it's.
I don't want to hear about.
But I'm just really proud of you, and I'm really happy to keep working with you. And it's nice, and Andy was like really impressed. And
Really?
So yeah, I hope you put him in the rotation. He's great.
Andy's great, right?
Andy
Yeah.
Haynes is so funny.
Yeah, getting back with Rosebud.
I really was I made a mistake bringing this guy.
That was hilarious,
Oh,
dude.
that's so funny.
That
So,
was
like,
hilarious.
Yeah, well, because I said,
He's
Andy,
like my equal. Like that was a terrible idea.
Right. Well, dude, it's so funny. I keep telling people, I'm like, there's 2 shows going on. There's one for the comics and there's one for the audience.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I go, thanks for bringing Andy. You're like, yeah, he's great, isn't he? And I
Yeah.
could tell it was like not passive aggressive, but like sincere.
Yeah, like I get it. Oh yeah. You were like, thanks for bringing Andy. I'm like, once he got on stage and he was killing, he was like, thanks for bringing him. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. So,
I mean, he's a headliner too, but he said you guys randomly ran into each other this week.
Yeah, basically. I saw him at the cellar. Yeah, outside the cellar. And but I've known Andy for years.
No, that's what he said. He said like you reconnected.
He's one of those tremendously underappreciated guys that just is like, we were talking about on the ride on here, how like a lot of guys bitch and moan about, oh, they don't want white guys now, or whatever, the industry favors these people, or it's not fair for this reason or that reason. I think stand-up is one of the fairest showbiz things there is, because you can't fake laughs. Like somebody's killing or they're not killing, basically. You might not like the way they kill, but if they're killing, they
undeniable.
They'll probably have a career, right? And it's none of your business if the crowd is dumb that likes them. Don't worry about it. Do you want that crowd? Then don't worry about it. So we were talking about how it's like basically pretty fair, and really the guys we know, we could name 10 guys that are truly great that just aren't bigger than or as big as they should be. Yeah, because we all have. It's all personal. It's like self-sabotage stuff. It's like go to therapy. It's like that kind of thing. And some people
join the club.
Yeah, some of these guys like that. They just don't have this part that holds themselves back. You know, they like just don't. Like Sam Morril, Mark Norman, they didn't blink when it was like it's all about clips and being online. They were like, okay, great, and they just did it.
Yeah.
And like guys like there's a lot of guys out there that are like, I can't do that. Like I just
gotta keep adapting.
I know you gotta just. It's a fear of either failure or a fear of success.
Right.
Well, that's why, and that holds a lot of very talented guys back. I think
I've said that about you for years. Like whether I put you in.
Both of those things.
No.
He's got a fear of everything, and it's holding him back.
No. Not that. Oh God.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. No, I want to hear it.
We'll edit this in.
I'm messing around.
That it's the Teddy Roosevelt effect, where no matter if I put you in a country club or like at the casino, at any situation, you would always murder. Like it was like you said, there's undeniably funny. Like you knew how to do well in every situation.
Right. Well, and so what I was saying to Andy is like, what we were talking about is you can have skills like that, but I was like, I realize that a problem I have is the way I look at stand-up is I want to be the guy that you don't know who he is and you're not really sure. So then when I super exceed your expectations, I've won. Right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
But that doesn't lead to success because Nate, for example, Bargatze, who I'm opening for on tour, is selling out arenas and selling, 4,000 seats a night, right? Those people every single one of those people is there to see him.
Right.
He doesn't have they don't have low expectations. They're like, we're excited to see this guy.
The pressure is on him.
Yes. And I get to go out there as an opener, and they're like, who is this guy? And so when I'm great, it's like, great. I've got nothing to lose.
Right.
But you can't be like that and have a good career. You can step into those situations sometimes, and it's like lucky and easy, but you don't want that to be everything you do.
Right.
So it's like I've never set my bar high enough where I'm like, I don't want to have to meet greatness. I want to surprise you that I'm better than you thought I would be.
Right.
Which is not healthy, and it's not how you get famous. So I was saying that to Andy on the way down, and that I need to change that about how I look at things. I got to not be afraid of people wanting to see me. When I've had people from your shows come up to me after and go, Julian, you were great. We came to see you from such and such. And even after a show where I did great, I'm like, oh no. like I'm so sorry.
You traveled near and far?
Yeah, I'm so sorry you came to see me. Like, what? What is wrong with
you?
me?
You paid a toll in the turnpike?
Yeah, I know. And the show went great, and I'm still like, I'll give you, do you want money?
Yeah.
Why am I like this? Yeah. Well, I know why, but it's Irish and Philly.
It's like the self-loathing.
Well, it's like that's strong. Jesus,
who's gonna go that hard?
Yeah, really. Should I? Self-loathe? No, it's this idea that it's all about self-worth. It's about self-worth and like. Not wanting to grow bigger than your britches. So it comes a lot of it's like parenting where it's like, don't get too, all right, take it easy. Nobody needs to fucking be paying attention to you all the time. Like that kind of thing. Like being tamped down, I think a lot. And then you finally are like, oh, okay, well, I can't be too. but I'm me, so I still need like the shit, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, I'll do it and I'll be great, but like I'm sorry, and also, you know, I didn't. They made me do it, you know, like it's like that kind of thing. It's like I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm so sorry. Kind of thing, if that makes sense. But to like stand up and be like, I'm great, come watch me, is like, man, God bless those guys
It's
that are like
tough,
that,
man.
especially
Yeah.
the ones that aren't funny. I'm like, wow, how do they do it?
Yeah.
So.
Empath and sociopath.
These are words. I don't know if you're calling me this.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
You're saying those are the types.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
No. In comedy, no. It's a strict line. We know both.
Yeah.
We can name people on both sides.
That's right.
But
That's
in
right.
comedy, like you have it. You can be empathetic.
Yeah.
Or you're a complete sociopath.
Well, you can also. We're all delusional. It depends on what end.
Right.
Like I'm delusional. Like I don't deserve it, and other guys are delusional. Like they do.
Right.
And I could use a little bit more of that delusion. You know. So, but I've made it. I mean, here
Dude,
I am
I've
at
been looking up-
Sunnybrook.
Oh God.
What is it called?
The historic Sunnybrook Ballroom.
The historic Sunnybrook Ballroom.
Yeah.
And it was great. I had a wonderful time tonight. It was
Yeah.
great.
Great show,
crowd.
man. Great
Yeah,
stuff.
thank
Dude,
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
So
out.
we never did a background check on him. Is he
Yeah.
is he safe? Has he been vetted?
He has exactly 33 different Eagles jerseys.
That's great.
Never worn
Reggie
anything-
White.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Go Birds. Thanks, Julian.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
That was a pleasure, man.
All right. So now we're gonna do it for real.
Bring them out.
SoulJoel and Alan Hill. Julian McCullough.